Development for the National Initiative of Cybersecurity Education's efforts in Arizona. And she's the range recruiter for the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range and as Director of Communications for the Phoenix chapter of the National Association of Women MBAs. Please welcome Rachel Harbley.
Hello, thank you for joining us. I would like to introduce Ori Eisen. He is the founder and CEO of HeroZona with over 20 years in global cybersecurity system infrastructure and a founding member of the nonprofit Cybersecurity Canyon. Thank you for joining us, Ori. I'd also like to introduce Ernest Garfield. He is the founder of veteransusa.org, and he is bringing cybersecurity training to veterans. Ernest is also the president and chairman of Interstate Bank Developers Incorporated and has over a decade in public office. Next, I'd like to introduce Dane Mullinex. He is the Vice President and Director of Arizona Laboratories for Security and Defense Research out of Allianz Science and Technology. Dane is a veteran with 3 decades of service in the U.S. Air Force. And last but certainly not least is Mr. Brett Scott. He is the Director of Security Solutions for Tech Data and the co-founder of the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range, the nation's leading nonprofit advancing cybersecurity. First, thank you, each of you, for joining us today and making time to help our veterans and further their careers. I'd like to first start with giving you a chance to define what you offer for veterans and what's available to them in the cybersecurity market here in Phoenix. Maybe it's real-world experience, security hardening for their business, or a unique security solution. Ori, could we start with you?
Yeah, can you hear me in the back okay? First of all, thank you for having us. No heckling in the back. What we offer at HeroZona is the ability to be on the cutting edge of authentication and helping people log in without passwords. So if you've done any kind of authentication or IAM service, we are hiring and we're looking for people who have grit and can-do attitude. So vets are welcome at HeroZona any day.
Thank you, Ori. Ernest, could you speak to your new initiative?
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm working on several cybersecurity projects. The one we launched recently, last week, was to help the veterans and the veterans hospitals across the country learn cybersecurity in hopes that we can reduce the suicide rate and increase their ability to get jobs that pay 3 to 5 times more than they would with any other certificate. And we're having some tremendous luck with that. And I'm getting ready to start a series of banks for veterans as well.
Fantastic. Dane, how about yours?
Thanks, Rachel. Dane Mullinex here from Allianz Science and Technology. I'm probably the outlier here on the panel. I work for a company called Allianz Science and Technology, and we run the Arizona Laboratories out in East Mesa at Gateway. Arizona Laboratories is a very unique, kind of an experiment, really. It is a publicly owned, City of Mesa owns the facility. It's the former Air Force Research Lab out in the East Valley, and it just happens to be a great place for veterans who particularly are interested in doing things with the federal government. Our model is heightened security and also enhanced communications, both physical and electronic security. And from that platform, we become enablers for people doing unique things in unique spaces, including cybersecurity, but not limited to that.
Thanks, Dane. And Mr. Scott, could you speak to yours?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rachel. My name is Brett Scott. I'm the co-founder of the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range. We are leading the country in training people in cybersecurity skills. We also have an intelligence mission, and our third mission is changing the cybersecurity industry. We have a lot of veterans that we're working with, especially veterans who are looking to transition into a job that pays very well. Starting salary is outstanding for cybersecurity, and there's a massive deficit in open positions. We will educate you to help you get those jobs, and the best part of all of this is it's not going to cost you a dime. So you can do all of this stuff for free, and it's not because we're hippies, it's because we really urgently need capable cyber talent, and that means you. Your military training gives you an excellent foundation that we can then help capitalize and enrich with knowledge to help save our country.
Fantastic. And Ori, could you speak a little further about how HeroZona would be a solution for maybe a small, medium-sized business or a larger enterprise?
Sure. What we do is remove the need to use passwords. Even as consumers, we hate passwords. No one wants to remember them. So once you have your own business, it could be small or even medium, you would want your employees to not remember passwords that are static, or you would want your partners and customers to not have to remember the password to get to your website. So we offer today integrations to tools like Salesforce or WordPress or VPN. So it's literally any business of any size that just decides to stop using passwords can use HeroZona.
Fantastic, thank you. And next I'd like to speak to, maybe since you're all in some form exposed or embedded within cybersecurity, I'd like to talk about trends. You know, it's a very hot topic right now, and you know, I think I see it as a no-brainer for veterans, but given your unique positions within the market, could you share a unique opportunity or position for veteran-owned businesses or veterans within the market? Maybe, Ori, if you could start.
I think if you have defending our country in your heart, then it could be in the physical world, it could be in the cyber world, like Brett said before. I think the future of any country in the next 10, 20, and more years will be about defending the cyber borders. So if you're a vet and you want to keep that spirit and do it in the private life, companies that defend the cyber borders are the way to go. There's, of course, offensive missions, and there's the defensive missions. So it really depends what you're all about. But it is definitely the future. It's a job that can help pay more than the bills. And in my opinion, it's very interesting because the threat landscape changes all the time, so you'll never be bored.
Very good, thank you. And Ernest? On maybe an opportunity in the market trends in cybersecurity and where you see an opportunity for veterans.
Well, I see a tremendous opportunity for everybody, and certainly including veterans. It's a most underfilled job right now in the world. We can produce income that is great by comparison to other industries. And consequently, veterans will be able to go into business for themselves, will be able to help this country. Look at what's happening in North Korea as far as the atomic or hydrogen bomb, I'm in a different generation, issues are occurring. And cybersecurity is vital to everyone in this world right now.
Thank you. And Dane?
Yeah, I think for veterans, you heard Ernie talk about the fact that obviously the cybersecurity space for anybody that's job seeking, anybody that wishes to advance a career is probably as good as it gets at this moment in time. But if you're a veteran, cybersecurity should have special meaning to you for the very simple reason that this is the 21st century battlefield. Veterans understand that there are people in this world that want to do very bad things to the people in our country in particular. And cybersecurity touches every one of us. I've spent the last 2 years, particularly in proximity with guys like Brett to my right, that learning about cybersecurity, learning how it touches everything that we do, learning how the emerging 21st century economy is absolutely a threat day to day, week to week, month to month from cybersecurity. Everything that we hold dear, our government, our electoral processes we learned, the transportation system, our technology and intellectual property is threatened by our inability to protect that from cyber crime, from cyber mischief, from cyber attacks that emanate from every level of society, from a disgruntled kid in his basement all the way up to state-sponsored activities. military folks, ex-military folks like myself understand threats. They understand the nature of what it takes to defend what they care for, what they live for, and what they've grown up to enjoy. And so I tell you, take what you know from the military, take your background and experience, bring it to the cybersecurity world, and even if you're not an IT geek or a cyber aficionado, learn that, because if it doesn't touch you now, it will touch you in the very near future. Your expertise need to be brought to the table to help the fight.
Thank you.
Well said, Dane.
Yes, thank you. And would you like to add something, Brett?
Yeah, it's hard to follow that. That was really very good. And so I would add to that that, first of all, you've already proven that you would like to help defend our country. What we'd like to do is empower you to gain and benefit from that financially for yourself and your family, but also to apply you to an ongoing war that's 24/7 and unrelenting. We are outscaled, we're outmatched, and we're outspent. We absolutely need people to come in and help and fight and save this country. You are the very best people to do that. And I could think of no more deserving group of folks for a better lifestyle than you guys, those people who help protect us to keep us free. So thank you so much for what you are doing, and thank you so much for what you will be doing. But also think about this. The cybersecurity industry is full of charlatans. There are so many people that have absolutely no real talent whatsoever, but because it's so new and because it's so urgently needed, you can get away with being a total moron. I'm not saying that so more morons join this. I'm saying this, that if you would like to come out of nothing in cybersecurity, you can easily rise to the very top of cybersecurity, because everybody that is a quote-unquote expert in this field is so bad at cybersecurity. So come join us, join the fight, and let's make a difference together.
Indeed. Thank you, Brett. I'd like to, we have a little bit of time, so I'd like to throw a curveball question in. I hope you don't mind. There is a lot of FUD in the market. I think you bring up a great point. That's fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And I think this is a good opportunity, maybe with some experts here, whomever would like to contribute. But what is maybe some misnomers or things we might not really, the public might not know about cybersecurity? So, whomever would like to start.
I'll start. My agent said not to answer FUD questions. The misnomer that I see all the time is that people think they have to be computer geniuses in order to be in this field. It is absolutely not true. As I said before, there's some defensive positions, there's some offensive position, but there's also analysis, there's also marketing, there's also product development. There's a lot of different things you can do in cybersecurity and be super successful. So just hoping for that uber ninja position is great, but it is not the only thing you can do in this field. I had a few salespeople in my career who I hired from different industry who said, I don't know the first thing about security or cybersecurity. And I said, like, that's the easy part to learn, but can you sell? And it's the same with product management and anything else. Anybody who decides to join this field can. When I speak to students in high school, for example, sometimes it's a parents' day. I actually look at the parents and I say, do you want them ever to leave the nest? Send them to cybersecurity because the starting salary is there. What? It's the truth. I tell that to my own kids. Yeah. But the starting positions could be $100,000 for someone who just graduated college. I mean, not a lot of jobs can offer that today. And if you're looking for many reasons, here's one that should get kids be interested in it and hopefully thrive in that industry.
Great points.
Yes, please understand that you will learn cybersecurity free. It won't cost you a dime, and you'll end up with the results that you spoke about. Actually, more than that. We've seen people go up to $2 million a year for the salaries. Okay. Now go to my website, which is veteransusa.org. And you will be able to have 3,000 classes taught to you free because of Homeland Security. That's how important this is to the security of this nation, that Homeland Security is providing these classes at no cost to anyone who is a veteran or who has .gov behind their name, whether they're working as a contractor, whether they're working for the city, the state, or the county. They have spread it out broadly, and I can tell you from personal experience, because I start banks, I start business banks, And we had one that we had to put on hold when the country or the world was invaded a few months ago on cybersecurity, because I had 2 experts on that bank that were in cybersecurity, and they had to get busy defending this country instead of starting a bank.
So I'll comment by building on what Ori said. You can look at cybersecurity 2 ways if you're a job seeker. You can look at it from the standpoint of, hey, I can make a ton of money, I can never be unemployed, I can be relevant early in an industry that's really at its ground floor, and all of those things are true. As a veteran, I choose to look at it just a little bit differently. I do choose to look at it as the 21st century battlefield. I do choose to look at it as an extension of my mission to protect and preserve this country. And I know that veterans in general share those kinds of values. The comment I made earlier in my remarks was bring what you know. And the reason that's a great key to getting into the cybersecurity industry is that cybersecurity touches everything that we know. It touches everything that we do and share and have. An example, I'm a car guy. I'm most assuredly not a cyber guy. I'm not an IT guy. But I'm a car guy, and I'm watching the rapid evolution of the transportation systems of this country. They're digitizing, they're going driverless, whether it's an airplane, a car, a boat. 20 years from now, there'll be more driverless, pilotless vehicles running around the world by far than you could possibly imagine. And the transformation is happening in just a handful of years, not decades. Every one of those things is a new set of risks in the cybersecurity business. Every one of those new technologies or applications of technology carries with it potential for devastating negative results based on its ability to defend or not to defend in the cybersecurity space. So as somebody, in my example, the cars, and there are many other examples certainly for folks leaving the defense industries wanting to upgrade their capabilities or wanting to start a whole new career, bring what you know, bring what you like, then learn the cybersecurity piece of that, and together you'll make a great contribution to the overall industry.
That's a great point. And Brett?
So part of the question was, what is it that is sort of a misnomer? And so there's a lot of hype around cybersecurity, but the most important thing that is a misnomer is that cybersecurity and the threats are too vast and we can't succeed. And all I can say to that is this is not France, we're the United States, and yes, you can. What reason why people say that you can't is because they don't know how, and that's something both Veterans USA and we can help fix. Getting a foundation in learning with Veterans USA is a great way to do that. We will turn that into practical hands-on learning at the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range. And we are able to do things, for example, with commercial products. We use HeroZona to protect things that we put out on the internet, and we use HeroZona to help us do that. So it is all possible. What we need is capable cyber warriors. Capable as in can do the job, and that means you guys.
Indeed. And Ernie, I believe you got us started by giving the veteransusa.org. I'd like to give everyone a chance. I'll start with you if you have anything else you'd like to add for people to follow up or to take advantage of what you offer. And if I can start with you, and then everyone, please feel free to share how we can use what you're offering.
Well, I must apologize, but I only heard part of what you asked.
Yeah, so...
Well, again, I start community banks. I've started 31 of them. And frankly, not quite tied to cybersecurity, but I'm in the process of launching a program this coming week to start community banks to serve veterans only. And I'm going to do that across the country. Now, cybersecurity will be tied into it because that is an integral part of banking, and without it, the banks would drop out. I've had people, for example, I had one lady who was ready to go on a bank board, and she called me one morning and said, I'm ready, I'll attend the meeting, and about 20 minutes later she called because I asked her to write a check, and she said, I can't join because somebody took $1 million out of my bank account. And that was in Taiwan, where they don't have the protections that we have here. So we can't live without it. Our country will be destroyed without it, so we need to make it a paramount part of our security system.
Thank you, Ernie.
So, a word about my day job and how it contributes to veterans. I run something called AZ Labs, the long title, Arizona Laboratories for Security and Defense Research. You'll prefer the short answer, we do as well. We've got a ton of veterans working in our facility in different capacities. We host some defense companies, some startups, as well as some of the large OE defense companies that you would recognize. We host the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range, and that has become a very big part of what our interests are and what our expertise are here to support. What makes AZ Labs unique for veterans is that veterans are, of course, disproportionately represented, thankfully so, in the defense and national security space. We cater to that at AZ Labs. We offer not only facilities that are accredited for security operations, but we put the infrastructure around those upstart companies. For example, 24/7 security. We include in our monthly lease, we include utilities, we include physical maintenance, we include things as mundane as housekeeping and groundskeeping. But most importantly, when companies, particularly upstart companies, enter business and they want to do business in particular with the federal government, they have a particular security need, we provide in-house counseling, in-house collaboration. All of my team carries a security clearance. All of us have expertise in the space of business development for contractors, for people wishing to do work in the federal space. And we also shortcut the time and the investment that veterans and other entrepreneurs would put into getting from a place where they can do, from where they are now to where they can do business directly with those very good but very challenging customers in the federal space. So for example, we have actual facilities pre-accredited by federal agencies to do classified. Normally, if you're in the business, you go lease a facility, you have to do an upfront investment, you have to do security upgrades, you have to consult with federal bureaucrats as well as with others in order to find out what it is you're even supposed to do to achieve accreditations. Usually what happens is it takes more time and more money than you have, and unfortunately a lot of that intellectual property that startup companies, in particular veteran startup companies, bring to the table gets lost in the process. It just breaks down and doesn't get to the point where it's sustainable. We are the folks, we are the only model in the United States that does what we do. We are the enablers for those upstarts, for those security-oriented small businesses.
And they're very good at it. So the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range being housed at that facility, we are a unicorn living inside of another unicorn. But what I would say to you is, going forward, there are things that you can do to engage with the cybersecurity community, and there are things that you can do to work with the people that are actually making a difference. There's a lot of hype in the cybersecurity industry. There's a lot of noise. But there are certain folks that are actually serious, clear-eyed players in this. The U.S. Homeland Security has been a fantastic partner in helping to support. We don't get any financial contributions from them, but they are enablers to us in our mission, and they support us to keep us defended against all the disruption that we cause to everybody else. We disrupt quite literally everyone. So Homeland Security has been amazing. You can join the InfraGuard program. FBI operates a program called InfraGuard, infraguard.org. And don't go to .com, that's a scam. But if you go to infraguard.org, that is a place that you can connect with the cybersecurity community, and it is directly managed by the US FBI. There are a lot of folks, there are players, there are corporations like HeroZona, like Veterans USA, like Alliance Science, and like the Arizona Cyber Warfare Range that would love to help you so that we can all work together to make a true difference in the most urgent problem that faces everyone. And it doesn't matter if you're a grandma or if you're an infant. Your world is being ruled by cybersecurity on an ever greater basis. And we as a country have to fight to survive in the new battlefield. And it is a battlefield, and it is every day. So you don't have to be hair on fire, super spooky. You can be all the way to that. You can also be someone that simply is part of the logistics and coordination that helps make a company operate. You can choose whatever role you want to play, and there's plenty of movement, up and down, left and right. It is a beautiful, versatile world. You, your kids, and their kids' kids will be wealthy for the rest of your lives. All you have to do is to sign up for helping to defend this country.
I'll just add another resource if you're looking for jobs in the Phoenix greater area. Go to cybersecuritycanyon.org. We have a tab there with all the jobs that are currently open from the companies who are in this initiative. And as I said before, you don't have to be a computer expert like Elio there in the crowd. You can just be a person who wants to get started and apply. A lot of training will be done either for free or on the job, because we're looking for the next generation of people to come help secure our borders.
Thank you. Ori, I'd like to thank you of HeroZona, and Ernest of veteransusa.org, and Dane of AZ Labs, and Brett of Arizona Cyber Warfare Range. I'd like to thank you all for making the time to come here and share what you know with the veterans and the service they've given our country. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for creating. Thanks for creating the range.
You can give a round of applause.
The students from East Valley Institute of Technology have been over there a number of times when we started the cybersecurity program. Thank you.